Okay, you might say this is the third sequence in the James Bond movie From Russia with Love. And we've just ended the chess championship sequence. And remember, the victor who represented Czechoslovakia, Kronstein, was summoned by Spectre. And he's going to go to Spectre's headquarters on this boat. So when he arrives, there's a little like philosophy thing going on in the room. And they're using the fish in the fish bowl to basically tell us the strategy of Spectre. Now remember, Spectre means like an invisible spirit that's evil, and it's associated with fear and large events in the population. So it's a fitting title for this organization. And they're going to use the fish in the fish bowl to kind of explain the philosophy of Spectre. And we'll just watch this here. Maybe I'll even put the sound, or no, I can't put the sound on for that because I'm on the commentary section. But anyhow, you can read the text and you will see that, basically speaking, the whole idea is that Spectre allows the white and the black to fight, and one will die in the fight, the fighting fish, and the other will emerge victor. But the other will be so exhausted, even though the other is victor, that someone else can come along and take out that fish. So you basically would then have three fish. The two that fight, one dies, and because of the fight, the other is weak. Well, then the strong one comes along and just devours the victor, and then becomes the lord over the fish tank. Now, another thing I find interesting too in this movie is they refer to themselves in numbers. Okay, notice how they spelled Spectre, R-E, not E-R. And I got a pretty large dictionary here. I couldn't find it in my large dictionary. Yes, a book. I get sick of everybody using the internet. Alright, so they refer to themselves in terms of numbers. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. And a while back, in the early 60s, mid-60s, I believe, in England, there was a whole series of television episodes called The Prisoner. And it never got off the ground and did too well because people couldn't understand it. But I loved it. And he's put on an island, and really on this island, it's the prison house of the world. And they refer to themselves in terms of numbers, and he's number 6. And he's always saying, "Who is number 1? Who is number 1?" And he's always dealing with number 2. Of course, number 1 is the devil. And it's interesting, in this Bond flick, they're doing the same thing. In fact, they might be borrowing that from the television series called The Prisoner, which emerged out of England. Now, basically, they're going to sort of use this situation of the so-called Russian-American Cold War. Now, there never was a Cold War. That's just nonsense. To make you believe that Russia had missiles and they were going to launch them and destroy Americans. And it's just a phony henchman. It's just a phony setup. It's Hegelian dialectics, which means you have a thesis and an antithesis or antithesis. And you take the two and you clash them together. You let them have conflict so you get a synthesis. So Spectre is completely secretive, not known to Russia, not known to US, but it's kind of the synthesis, okay, of the Russian-American nonsense Cold War. So you're basically looking at the explanation of Hegelian dialectics, and that is behind everything, everything. And the first usage I can see of it was, a good usage was the so-called American Civil War. And that's just right about the time the whole concept was born by Hegel. And of course he combined it with Marx. And it's called the Hegelian Dialectic. So thesis, America, USA. Antithesis, Russia. And now those two clash together in a Cold War, but you're forgetting about Spectre, the synthesis, okay? So they're going to explain a little more, I think, with the fish here. Okay, I think they're done with the fish analogy, I'm sorry. But anyhow, now they bring in the whole idea of the state. And notice how absolute and obedience and everything. So that is the plan everywhere, everywhere, across the world. To use the phony nonsense of the thesis, antithesis, and the synthesis is you're under the power of the state. I don't care where you're at, I don't care what country you're at, or listening to this right now. That is the ultimate objective, to bring everyone under complete control by the usage of the power of the state. Okay, so they're going to fake out with this young lady that she really thinks she's working for the Russians. But no, she's really working for Spectre. Remember, Spectre is basically an evil spirit, and basically that would be the devil. And that is the truth of the whole thing. I don't care what show you've watched in hoax history, hoaxology. The ultimate source of all of it is the devil. But in Jesus Christ, the devil's been defeated. Once again, notice the ring on that last finger, the baby finger, just like we saw on Kronstein. The ring. The Masons love their stupid rings and tie pins and little pins they put on their suit. I've seen them over and over. Real tiny, they put it on their suit jacket. So you look at it and go, oh, what is that? You're not allowed to tell you much. Oh, that's just some little nice decorative pin. No, it's a seal because they took vows to be liars. Now notice M, the head of the British intelligence, M is would be standing for Masons. They love to get in their symbolism everywhere, Masons. And again, notice the symbolism, the white cat in the black or dark suit. And even look at the little buttons there on the sleeve of the suit. So Spectre is going to be secretly doing stuff, and everyone around him is thinking, oh, it's just the Cold War stuff, nonsense. Great Britain and America versus Russia and all the communist forces or socialist forces in the world. And they're after this lector decoder. And I'll try to unveil that and try to figure out what the symbolism of that is. But I'm going to end this video right here, and I certainly want to thank you for watching. End of video.